your home for Ducks basketball.
I think we have talent. We have some good experience.
Duarte to the basket, the slam. Omarui for three, yes!
I think we have enough talent to have a very competitive team.
Oh, and a steal and slam for Williams.
I think we've got as much talent, if not more, than we've ever had in our game.
Mike fires, hit. Only right corner three, another bully ball. The Ducks have done the double championship for the second time in 3 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Visit your locally family-owned and operated Carl's Jr. today. Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. From the Country Financial Studio, alongside Terry Jonz, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and welcome inside the Casanova Center, and I wish that we were going on the air with some better news for you today. Normally on a Tip-Off Tuesday, Terry, we'd be getting ready and all excited about a men's basketball matchup and a women's basketball matchup, but unfortunately today, the men's basketball program announcing that they will enter into a pause, which is not a good sign for Oregon men's basketball, of course, but we've seen it around the conference as the University of Oregon men's basketball program has paused all team activities, which means that because of COVID-19 protocols, the Ducks games on Thursday, January 14th against Arizona State and Saturday, January 16th against Arizona are being postponed. Rescheduled dates for those contests will be announced when finalized. As you can imagine, it's a large Tetris game trying to figure out where all of these different puzzle pieces fit together. So that's not the news that we were hoping to give you today, but we can still focus on Oregon women's basketball. But Terry, they've also had some COVID issues of their own. It's just fortunate for the Ducks that it's on the other side of the coin.
That's right. Arizona State women, they're in their second weekend, starting their second weekend of being in a pause. So, and the Arizona State men, we're having some pause issues before, but they're okay. It's crazy. You know, you can do everything right, and it still happens. This virus is everywhere. It's just everywhere, and that's why we have masks on. That's why you wash your hands, you distance, you do all that stuff. But yeah, the women, okay, they're going to play a nationally televised ESPN game against 11th ranked Arizona coming up on Thursday, 4 o'clock tip, 3:30 pregame show. Bev and I'll have the action for you, and ought to be a good one. But just a single trip and turn around and come back.
Yeah, it's a little odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're not used to those one-offs anymore when you're traveling, but that is the plan. And that is a huge big-time game. So if you're just joining us, Oregon men's basketball has entered into a pause for all team-related activities, and we'll have some updates for you. I did get a chance on Duck Insider earlier today to talk with Eric Rodell, the Deputy Athletic Director for the Ducks. We have that for you coming up in just a moment. But we still have a fun show for you on the women's basketball side of things because, well, Te-Hina Paopao is going to be our guest.
Te-Hina Paopao. Yeah, I asked her before we went on. You won't hear this. I asked her if she minded that sometimes I was going boom, boom with a three, you know, a Paopao with a boom, boom. And she's like, yeah, she smiles through the whole thing. She goes, I don't care. But she is, of course, Uncle Joe Salavea, Samoan. And I asked her, I said, how do you say 3 points in Samoan? And she didn't know, but she was going to find out and let me know. So
all right.
We'll try and see. Maybe we could be doing some Samoan three-pointers.
And you've done that before, though, with previous international players.
Well, Satu Sabali, we were actually over in Pullman, of all places, in the airport waiting. And I don't know, we were all, you know, it's a small airport, so you all kind of crammed in there. And Satu said, you know, about 3 points. You ought to say it in German or something. And so she taught me how to say it, so I wrote it down. And then I started going with Maite, tres puntos,
right.
Drei Punkte. Drei Punkte is German.
Right.
Tres puntos. And then interesting, I think I did it a couple times. Sab, she didn't really care in Romanian. It was pretty close to German.
Yeah,
something like Drei Punkte. Punkte or something. You Sab if you're watching.
See, so there's
I'm
precedent.
So sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
there's
is.
precedent. There's precedent for this. It's not just, you know, coming up with something cool for Te-Hina, which is awesome.
By the way, we talked to Kelly too.
Yeah, I was
the
going to
coach,
say, and Coach Graves. That's coming up. So for the Oregon men's basketball team, though, a bounce-back win against Utah, and I was really looking forward to seeing what this team could do now moving forward, but, of course, waiting for those rescheduled games with the postponement with the Ducks entering this pause. But the Oregon women's basketball team, a bounce-back win as well against Cal.
Yeah, against Cal. Cal's really, you know, going to have a tough year. I mean, they are. They're 0-10. But Oregon did what they're supposed to do. Elite teams, it doesn't matter who you're playing, what the score is, you stay at that high level. And that's the first game, I think, this year with a lesser opponent where I saw Oregon. They stayed at that high level for 40 minutes. And everybody played. They played all 12 that were eligible. Sedona Prince, the only one out. And it was just all kind of the same in the middle quarters where they only allowed 12 points for California. And they turned the ball over. Transition basketball was pretty good. And they caused 23 turnovers for Cal, but the most impressive one, even though it was in a loss against Stanford, Stanford only averages 12 turnovers. It was 17 against the Ducks.
Yeah.
And the Ducks defense and coach, was not happy in the loss at home against UCLA. And he and I have talked, and we talked even on a Tip-Off Tuesday interview, I think a couple weeks ago, that the hardest thing for freshmen to learn at this level is how hard you have to play. And you have to do it every play, or you may get embarrassed, or you're going to give up a basket, or whatever. You're going to miss a pass, somebody open, and and that can cost you. And the 73-71 loss to UCLA, one play may have cost them the game. So this team is learning, but I'll tell you what, those youngsters they're something else. They are the Fab Five for a reason, and they are legit. They still have a lot to learn, but boy, you sure like what you're seeing.
I love the NBA substitution pattern. I know that Coach Graves talked about that a little bit, where it's kind of like a hockey line change sometimes, and really the NBA started doing that more and more, where you have your first unit and your second unit and chemistry, teams learning to play together that way. The Ducks have done that a little bit, and I got to say I kind of like it, but that speaks to the depth of Oregon women's basketball.
Well, too, with COVID, they don't have practice guys.
Right.
Usually the practice guys kind of save your reserves, so they're not wearing themselves out in practice. Plus, you can kind of tell the guys, okay, he wants them, get very physical with them because you're going to play a very physical team. And they can do that, and you get a practice against it. And both first and second teams kind of get to do that. Well, now they're having to practice against each other. So those groups, that second group's kind of playing together. So it makes sense to kind of put them in together because they're used to it. They're doing it every day in practice. So it's kind of interesting, and you sometimes you see teams like that. I remember I coached my daughter when she was younger, and we used to press all the time. And then when they got a little older, the coach would put them in. When they were young and they were up on the varsity, he would just say, "Give them hell. Go in, go in and give them hell," because he knew what they were going to do. And that's kind of you still have Chavez coming off the bench. I mean, the toughness level right there, even if it's her or Jazz Shelley.
It's good to have her back.
Yeah, yes, it was. And then, but they go in and they get after it. They stir it up. They got some energy.
Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Carl's Jr. So we got Kelly Graves, Te-Hina Paopao coming up, and I do want to get to some of your comments and questions if you're live with us here between 2:30 and 3:30. Brenda was asking, why did Omarui only play the first half against Utah? A question that was on everybody's mind in the second half, particularly on my mind in broadcasting the game. Coach Altman said that he didn't feel well. They test every day. They knew that it wasn't COVID, but he just didn't feel well. Coach Altman wondered if maybe it was actually the altitude that got to Eugene Omarui a little bit. So he did not feel well, and that was why he didn't play much in the second half. Ducks were still able to win that game against Utah before this pause here without LJ Figueroa and without Eugene Omarui down the stretch. An impressive performance. Big reason why was Chris Duarte. Duarte in his last 5 has just been unprecedentedly good. 23 points, 3.2 steals. He's second in the league in points per game and now first in the league in steals per game. And that's what's tough with these pauses, because it felt like Oregon had started to click on a few levels after that loss to Colorado and now coming back against Utah. So Brenda, to answer your question, that would be why. Well, let's get a quick timeout. When we come back, I got a chance to talk with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Rodell earlier. We'll have some of that context for you as to what the Ducks are facing now with this pause in team activities, and also Kelly Graves and Te-Hina Paopao. It is Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Carl's Jr. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
In the mood for a charbroiled double cheeseburger for just $2.99? Have a BLT, the Carl's Jr. way. Crispy bacon, fresh lettuce and tomato with cheesy charbroiled beef. Plus creamy ranch and more charbroiled beef. It's the new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger. That beefy enough for you? Get a taste of the new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger for just $2.99. Part of charbroiled double deals at Carl's Jr. Double up to feed your happy. Offer valid for a limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
Dear Wallet, you can't stop a new 2021 Toyota, no matter the weather. The Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone will be comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Toyota. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
More than ever, you're looking for the perfect getaway. With gourmet food, your favorite games, and a beautiful lodge, book the perfect getaway at Spirit Mountain Casino, the Northwest's premier entertainment destination. Go to spiritmountain.com.
You're listening to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. Have a BLT the Carl's Jr. way with the new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger, part of the Charbroiled Double Deals at Carl's Jr. for just $2.99 each. Carl's Jr. feeds your happy. Hey, so you've got a couple fans, former players, by the way, Terry, in the comments, okay? Janita.
Yamaleava?
Thank you. Janita, I'm sorry.
Janita!
You know, Terry knows this, that I am terrible with pronunciations. So
I'll tell you a story about Janita when she first started playing. Of course, Paul Westhead was coaching then, and he would try and say, it was funny, and I noticed all her teammates just called her Nita. So I said, when you start playing, because she was injured, I said, when you start playing, you got to call you Nita. And she's like looking at it, and I said, well, what? She goes, well, it's my last name. It's Yamaleava, so I had to learn how to say. And once you get it, it's Yamaleava. But Janita, good to see you. What, Jacinta Vandenberg?
Also, Jacinta Vandenberg. I was going to say,
are you
Jacinta
in Australia,
Vandenberg.
Jacinta? I love both of these players. Wow, great, Jacinta. Miss you too.
This is the magic of the internet.
I know,
these days.
Worldwide web, right? That's what they call
it.
Hey,
but to all the former players, I mean, I always love, when I hear from some former players in multiple different sports. Honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of doing this job. I mean, you get to know so many amazing people, and then they go off, and then they come back, and they just still want to be Ducks. They're still Ducks at heart. That's the best part.
This is. I think that tells you what a special place this is.
I agree.
Doesn't it? Really does.
Also, a quick question from Katie, and I think a lot of people wondering, Terry, and so I'm going to ask you, and maybe you ask Coach Graves. Maybe they're tired of me asking this question. When is Sedona going to be able to play again?
I don't get to go to practices with the COVID, so, but I do talk to Coach regularly, obviously, and the SID and so on. But from what I can gather, it's getting close. But and then they kind of end up, day to day, week to week. So I doubt it's going to be this weekend, but I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope we see on Thursday. Hey, Sedona's out there,
right?
So we'll see. But I understand it is getting close, and coach's answers to media has always been, it's coming along. I do think they're being extra cautious with all that she's been through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, so I think that's part of it too. Is you don't want to put her back out there, and then you got to shut her down for the rest of the season. You want to make sure she's totally healthy and ready to go. But coach is always like, we're working on it. And, they want her back, obviously, but you do need to be careful. I mean, like I said, what she went through with her legs and a broken leg and all of that you want to be careful. But this doesn't have anything to do with that. This is, she turned her ankle against, trying to think, was it Colorado or Utah, one of those teams?
One of the mountain schools.
Yeah, and she played up until, through Washington State,
right.
The Washington trip right before Christmas break, and then they decided then that shut her down, that there was still some pain, that they're like, okay, let's not keep going with this. Let's shut it down for a while. And that's all it is. But boy, do we miss her. Yeah, I mean, you see Niara having to work her tail off inside there. You know, Lydia Giomi comes in and gives you some good minutes. And I think now we're starting to see Kylie Watson.
Yes.
With Sedona being out, Kylie Watson, who had 12 points, career-high 12 points against California on Sunday, as her development comes along. She's 6'4", very active, big body, strong. Great moves inside. You know, she's going to help. I mean, you know, there's a serendipity sometimes that happens with these things, and it's that Kylie Watson's getting more minutes than maybe she would have if Sedona was here and playing. Well, Sedona's here, but if Sedona was playing. So, you know, we'll see. But if you want me to speculate, I can speculate for you and say maybe in the next couple weeks, hopefully when the Washington schools pay a visit, after this weekend. The 22nd is Washington State, which looking forward to that game and seeing Washington State live and the Ledger Walker sisters and how good they are. Moved into the top 25 for the first time in years. They have not gone to the NCAA tournament since 1991, and they really have not been close. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, Sedona, I would say the Washington schools was my guess, and I don't. It's an educated guess. I'll just put it that way.
All right. So there you go. One other question coming I saw from, a couple questions actually, but Katie was wondering about the Pac-12 tournament and the championship in Vegas. Is it still happening? The understanding as of right now, yes, it is still happening.
Yep.
On the men's side, of course, that means Arizona is not going to be there. So I've asked the question because Arizona, if you don't know, is enforcing a self-imposed postseason ban. So there's not going to be a Pac-12 tournament. It's going to be a Pac-11 tournament, and I'm not exactly sure what that means for seeding. Or does the spot that Arizona finishes, does that first game in the opening round, does that team just get a bye that they were supposed to play? We don't know, but the understanding is that for both the men and the women, yes, it's still full steam ahead with all the proper COVID protocols.
I see Dana over there raising his hand. We'll take the bye.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt.
If it's just up for a vote, we'll take it. We're first. Dibs.
Yeah. We'll see. But meanwhile, though, if you're just joining us, we've got Kelly Graves and Te-Hina Paopao coming up. But University of Oregon men's basketball program today announcing a pause on team activities. On Duck Insider, our daily show, I did get a chance to talk with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Rodell, and just to give you some perspective on what that means, the challenges that Oregon men's basketball will face now, we caught up and had a quick exchange with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Rodell today. You guys have been following these protocols, and Eric, everything has been so tight, and I guess just at some point you just have to say it is what it is and now follow those protocols and try to get back to competition as soon as you can once it's safe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as we've all watched, you know, we've been at this now since last June when we started to bring our student athletes back onto campus, and, you know, we went through the entire process of developing the protocols and, you know, working with the conference, working through the NCAA, and working with our local and state health authorities on, you know, what it was going to take to return to training and competition. And, you know, we've had a lot of success with it over the last few months. It's taken a big lift from many people on our staff and, you know, our medical team and everybody that goes into supporting that. And, you know, our coaches and our student athletes have done a tremendous job across all of our sports. And, you know, as we see around the country, you know, nobody's really immune from these pauses, and, you know, the protocols, you know, put health and safety of everybody involved first. And that's certainly what's most important. And hopefully we'll get back out on the floor soon.
That's the plan. Eric Rodell, Deputy Athletic Director, joining us. Eric, I don't want to dwell on it because we do have a lot of positive things to talk about, but I am curious if you could walk fans through just what's the last, I don't know, day been like for you as the sports administrator for men's basketball. Imagine you're on the phone with the conference coaches. I mean, just what does this all look like from your perspective in your chair? What's it been like the last 24 hours or so?
Well, you know, we're in a daily communication with a number of people throughout the entire course of the season, and we're keeping the conference updated on how things are going with respect to COVID protocols on a daily basis. So this is just really an extension of that. And when you go through your daily testing, you're reporting results, and you're always monitoring. And, you know, it's deeper even than just COVID results. It's really about overall availability on a roster. So, you know, you work your way through that on a daily basis. And really what we've been saying is, this is hour to hour throughout the course of a season. And, so yes, it is a bit of a fire drill when something like this happens, and there's a lot of moving parts with, the visiting teams and their travel and the conference. And as you saw last week, our schedule on the men's side got shuffled up a little bit as a result of another school's COVID issues. So it really is going to shift week to week. And, our hope is to keep everybody healthy and safe, and to be able to play as much of our schedule as we possibly can.
I know the big question now from fans, of course, Eric, is, well, what does it look like to get these games rescheduled? You guys have already gone through that with the UCLA game still set for next Tuesday. What's that procedure like?
Again, a lot of dominoes, and the schedule is on the conference side, and working with television, there's certainly a lot of moving parts there. There are some windows as you work your way through the season, and that's something that'll be determined as we move forward. But now there'll be likely some parts that'll be shuffled around for this weekend.
That was my conversation with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Rodell from Duck Insider today. And just to give you some perspective on where things sit now, as the men's basketball team has entered into a pause, and now we're ready to switch gears and talk with Kelly Graves. We'll get a quick timeout, come back, but Terry, what are fans going to hear when you talk with Kelly Graves in a moment?
Well, just, that he's taken sunscreen down to Tucson. We do know that. Got to take some of that. But I think he's feeling better and better about his team. He sees it coming. He knows there's still a long way to go, but he sees this young team getting better and better. And I got to tell you, I like their chances down there. It's number 10 Oregon, number 11 Arizona in Tucson. And, can you imagine? I mean, they were starting to fill up McHale Arena? What is it?
McHale Center.
Center, thank you. That holds 14,000, I think, right? Yep. So, I mean, they've been starting to fill that up because they got it going. And Adia Barnes down there kind of patterned after what Kelly did here at Oregon. And obviously has got that program coming. But he said, could you imagine what it would be like down there? So that's kind of cool. But anyway, always a great conversation. We didn't have a lot of time to spend. He was in a little bit of a hurry. They're heading to practice, and they're getting ready because they're going to fly out to Tucson tomorrow. But that's coming up next here on Tip-Off Tuesday. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Ninkasi Brewing is proud to be an official partner of the Oregon Radio Network.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon!
Independently owned and brewed in Eugene since 2006, Ninkasi invites you to slay the season with Slayer Winter Ale, on shelves now. Slayer is available in a 6-pack of bottles and in a 12-pack of cans for the very first time. More information at ninkasibrewing.com. That's ninkasibrewing.com.
What's it like to grow with the O? At OCCU, we support Duck fans each step of the way by educating our youth with Lucky Duck Savings, celebrating independence with Duck Debit Checking, and rewarding members with the Duck Credit Card. That's how Duck fans grow with OCCU. Learn how you can too at myoccu.org/ducks.
You're listening to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Joey Mack and Terry Jonz welcoming you back to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. Feed You're Happy. And the men's team, if you're just joining us, has unfortunately entered into a pause due to COVID-19 protocols. That means Thursdays and Saturdays games are postponed with rescheduled dates still to come. More details on GoDucks.com, and we'll have updates for you on Duck Insider next week's Tip-Off Tuesday. For now, the men's team still is scheduled to play UCLA coming up at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. But as we all know, things can change very, very quickly. So follow the Oregon men's basketball social media for programming updates. Follow at UO Sports Network. Meanwhile, the women have a big top 11 matchup coming up on Thursday.
All right, yeah, the big guy, Coach Kelly Graves, got a chance to talk with him earlier today, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Let's hear from KG.
All right, Coach, after the weekend in the Bay Area, 9-2, 7-2, and 9-2, that's 11 games. Normally a non-conference schedule, just about the time you'd be starting the conference schedule right now after that many games. But you're in pretty good shape heading into this stretch.
Yeah, we've played some good basketball. We've played some not so good basketball, but like you said, we just didn't really, with all these new players that we have, we didn't really have that luxury of a non-conference schedule to really kind of work things out, roles, playing time, rotations, et cetera. So we've had to do it on the fly during conference play. And as you know, that's difficult because every team in this conference is good. And, but yeah, I kind of like where we're at. I think we're improving. And like I've always said, I think we're, our best basketball's ahead of us. We're going to be a pretty good team down the stretch, I believe.
And you mentioned in the postgame after the California win how happy you were with the transition game, especially against California. You turned them over a lot, but you turned Stanford over more than Stanford gets turned over as well. And that part of the game has been coming around, hasn't it?
I've just wanted to say we're so good in transition that I don't think we're giving ourselves enough opportunities. Now, part of that comes from defense. Part of it comes from just defensive stops, rebounding. And then, this past weekend, we created our own opportunities with some pretty active defense. We've got to continue that. But I've been really asking our guards, especially to probe instead of just come down and reverse the ball or wait for some kind of a drag screen, to really kind of probe the defense, put some pressure on them, make them collapse, make them shrink. And so that we would have open kickouts. And I thought we did a better job of that this past weekend. Got to keep getting better, but like we've always talked about, just baby steps.
Yeah, Te-Hina Paopao, I thought did a great job of that. Sometimes a delayed cutter would come through and you got them and got a basket that way. Got a chance to talk to Te-Hina yesterday in our player spotlight here for Tip-Off Tuesday. And I think she smiled the whole time. And I know you've talked about it, just what a happy person she is, but what a great young kid and a great basketball player, isn't she?
Amen to all of that. You're spot on. I mean, she's got a great view of life, loves the game, plays with a lot of joy. And, and I think that's infectious, that style, that way of being, and she's really beloved by her teammates because of that. And then you nailed it. She is a heck of a player, a heck of a talent. The numbers she's putting up rival any, freshman guard that I've had, in my career. And she's solidifying herself as one of the top guards, not just in our conference, but, certainly in the West and across the USA. And just a freshman's going to continue to get better. And so good on her. And we're going to need her to continue to get better as we evolve as a team.
And the team yesterday got back in the top 10 in the AP poll, and also the net that's kind of has replaced the RPI with the NCAA, just one of the tools that they use. You're number 3. We're number 4 last week, but even though with the loss, you're still moved up a notch. Talk about the net. There's similarities to RPI, but there's just more additional information.
I have no idea. I mean, honestly, Terry,
I know.
I don't. All I can worry about, all that kind of stuff takes care of itself. We lay out a schedule. Our schedule is very tough, as you know. Especially now. Look at what we've played now that Arizona State game is canceled. The next game after that, I believe, is Washington State, who are now in the top 25. So that'll make 4 games out of 5 against teams in the top 25. So I think you just keep playing good teams and you win. or you look impressive doing, playing, you play good basketball, then, you naturally move up. I mean, that's just kind of, so whether you use in a measurement like the net, the RPI, BPI, whatever the case may be, you just play as well as you can and win games.
All right, you mentioned Arizona State, that game postponed and hopefully get rescheduled at some point. But you got Arizona on Thursday, national television audience on ESPN. I don't know, when I think Arizona, I just go Ari McDonald right now. And she's the one that stirs the drink, isn't she?
She sure is. I mean, they have a lot of talent around her, but she's really what make them go. She's the engine. And to be honest with you, we've struggled trying to guard her over the years, even with those great teams that we've had. So it takes all five, and like you said, a national TV audience. It's too bad we didn't have or don't have fans, because, they would have sold this game out. There would have been 10,000 plus in that arena. It would have been a great environment. Yeah, make no mistake about it. They're going to be coming in with a little something to prove, because they gave one away up at Washington State. One I'm sure they'd love to have back. Some, key plays down the stretch that allowed Washington State to win that game. But yeah, we're going to get their absolute best. And when they're at their absolute best, you're going to see a lot of Ari McDonald.
All right, Coach, have a good trip down to Tucson. Take the sunscreen with you, and we'll talk to you after the game. Well, we'll talk to you before the game, I guess, down in Tucson.
All right, Terry. Yep, you got it. All right, buddy.
There you go, head coach Kelly Graves. Always fun to talk to. It was great. You couldn't see him. If you've ever done a Zoom call and it's not the gallery, what is the view, and the person you're talking to is full screen.
Yeah.
And as I was asking him about the net, he's just going, like, I
Shaking
have
his
no
head.
clue. He's like, I don't know. He does know. I mean, he understands it, but he's like, it doesn't really matter. That's just one criteria, by the way.
But it does take care of itself, like you said,
But
right?
it does, yeah.
You win.
And in the Pac-12, you don't really have to worry about it,
Yeah.
because you play enough top 25 opponents and really good opponents, and you're going to get some really good wins. If you win, you're going to be just fine. So it works out. But he's always fun to talk to, isn't he? I mean, you get a chance to have him on your Duck Insider show, and it's just he's such a gregarious personality.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him, and as I've told everybody, I mean, after about 5 minutes, you think he's your best friend.
Yep.
For everybody, I mean, because he makes you feel that way, and that's a gift. He's got a gift.
He's a people person.
Yep.
It's good to be a people person when you're doing interviews.
Yeah. So we doing Te-Hina next?
Te-Hina's next.
Te-Hina Paopao. She goes boom boom with a 3 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, had a great time talking with her yesterday, as we've kind of, when they're over there at the what's their apartments called over there across from the arena?
I couldn't tell you.
I forget.
That's the funny thing. So I graduated in 2014. All of the apartments are different now.
Yeah, they're all new.
They're all brand new. Like I go through there and I'm like, this is not the Oregon that I went to.
Yeah.
And now you walk over there and you see the new night campus. You see Hayward Field, Jane Sanders Stadium, like all of these things, new dorms, new buildings, everything. As the upgrades have been pretty amazing. Well, we got to get a quick timeout. Then we got Te-Hina coming up.
Okay, but the Wi-Fi over there is terrible. Was my
Is that the that was the point?
Yeah, when I talked to Arasabli last week, it stopped and we had to get, and it stopped again. But we made it. You won't even know unless I told you.
Yeah.
But we got time, so I thought I'd fill you.
Scott Phillips worked his magic.
Yeah,
There's
we'll
no
come
doubt
back.
about that.
Te-Hina Paopao next after this on Tip Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to really volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor-charged characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the do.
This is Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm place on a cool day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. Tip-Off Tuesday as we continue talking women's basketball. Te-Hina Paopao from Oceanside, California, down by San Diego. Yeah, just like Oregon. In fact, that's kind of the way we started. Here's my conversation yesterday with Te-Hina.
All right, Te-Hina. Now, from Oceanside, California, I must admit, I knew it was down by San Diego. I had to kind of look it up and kind of realize, geez, it's right down on the beach and palm trees and all of that. So it's just like Oregon, isn't it?
I wish it was like Oregon.
Did you grow up there? Were you born and raised in Oceanside?
I was, yes.
What was that like growing up in Oceanside, California? It's just north of San Diego.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Sunshine every day, great weather. Get to go to the beach a lot, so it's really fun.
So you're a beach goer.
Oh gosh, I love the beach. Absolutely love the beach.
Now, La Jolla Country Day, where you played basketball at, a very famous school, of course, Candace Wiggins and Kelsey Plum, and a well-known coach, and Terry Bamford. Is it Bamford? Bamford.
Bamford.
Bamford. But she's had some pretty good players. Said you may be the best one. How does that make you feel when you hear that, though?
But she's been coaching a lot of great players, and being able to hear that is just mind blowing. But I just keep working and keep grinding and become better every day.
How far was your commute to high school from Oceanside? It looks like a little bit of a jaunt.
Just about 30 minutes, but with traffic, it's like 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah, so not too bad. Who are you rooming with here?
Bad, no. I'm rooming with my siblings. I room with my brother and my sister.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Who's the best cook? Who cooks?
Me.
You're the best
I'm just
one?
kidding. I don't cook. No, my sister is. She cooks a lot. Shrimp Alfredo.
Shrimp Alfredo? Oh my. Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
But you be careful, but you run it off. I don't. So that's because that's you get to wear it after a while. You do.
Yeah.
So what do you like to do in your spare time? You got school and it's online, and that's a challenge, certainly a little bit different. You haven't really been able to be a real college student yet.
Yeah, not a real college student, but I usually hang out with the girls, the other freshmen. We hang out a lot. So
just chat? What? TikToks? What do you do?
We do a lot of TikToks. We watch shows sometimes. We just chill and talk. Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes go out to eat.
What's your, you got a favorite movie, favorite show, Netflix, TV, whatever?
My favorite show is Blacklist. Absolutely love that show.
Why?
On Netflix.
What about it?
It's just super entertaining. I mean, it's like a plot twist every episode.
What about music? What do you like?
I like all types of music, but I have to go to, my roots, island culture, island music.
Yeah. Did you play other sports as you were growing up besides basketball?
I played softball.
Oh, you did?
Didn't really like it. Yeah, I did.
A little slower.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, a lot slower, did not like the pace of the game, so ended up playing basketball.
So who's been your mentor? I mean, growing up for basketball, I mean, who helped you and said, you know, hey, you're pretty good at this. You got a future.
Definitely my dad. He's been a mentor all my life. He's been there. He's been through it all. And my brothers. My brothers actually, I have 4 brothers, so they're really good at sports. And so when I was growing up, they would like always like challenge me and like, you know, how brothers are. So I can thank them for that.
Now, what, older or younger brothers?
2 older and 3 older, 1 younger.
So you're the only girl.
I have my sister.
Oh, well, of course. Hello. You already said that. I don't remember anybody says. No,
Yeah,
your
that's
sister.
okay.
So your mom and dad, tell us about the rest of your family back home in Oceanside.
You know, they're relaxing, taking one day at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, love them.
Yeah, this pandemic's been a little challenging. They'd probably come up and watched you play a few times, I would imagine.
They're not really big on traveling.
No.
They like to watch, yeah. So they usually stay home and watch the game on TV.
Now you know, 5-star recruit, McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand Classic. You would have played in those, by the way. But first of all, let's start there. You didn't get to do those. None of you guys did. You know, disappointing, but you just got to kind of move on from it, don't you?
Yeah, it's just a reminder that life comes first and you got to keep the safety of everyone. And it was unfortunate we weren't able to play, but now we are able to play with your respective colleges. So it's been fun so far.
Why'd you pick Oregon? You could have picked pretty much anywhere, I'm sure. But you picked the Ducks. We're glad you did. You're really good. Yeah. And all reports, I get told all the time what a great kid you are. So I call you kid. Sorry. I hope you don't mind.
No, it's all good. Kelly calls us kiddo.
Okay,
so
does he? Okay. Okay. But why'd you pick Oregon? What was it about the Ducks?
Well, I definitely wanted to stay on the West Coast, somewhere close to home, that's far enough. But I picked Oregon because the winning culture that Coach Graves built and the coaching staff, and their recruiting process is awesome. They treat you like family, and I felt like I could see myself here, and I really enjoyed being here and the recruiting process that I've been through, and it's just been really fun.
When you made your visit, did you get to see a game at home?
No, we got to see practices, but we saw the spring game for football though.
Oh, football. Okay, so you didn't get to see
11, we just saw
12,000 fans at Matthew Knight Arena for a women's game. Heavy.
Yeah, no. I wish I came for a game though. That'd have been really cool to experience that with all the fans, because we don't get fans this year. So.
Yeah, they're hanging in. They're there. I hear from them all the time, and I'm sure you do too. But, they're coming. They're just waiting for the chance to come do that.
Yeah, we are hanging in there too. So.
Yeah, what's it like? I mean, I don't know. What's the biggest crowd you ever played against before you came here?
It had to be this regional championship in California when we played against Windward before the state championship that we weren't able to play in. I think that's the biggest crowd I've ever played in.
Yeah, but you don't hear them anyway, do you? Once you get out there, it's tipped off.
Yeah, no, it's
silent. You're playing ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Joe. I know I've mentioned it on the broadcast, but Joe Salavea, one of my favorite people, one of the football coaches, assistant coach, what is this? Assistant head coach, coordinator. He does the defensive. And in the meantime, he's just an all-around great guy. Polynesian Hall of Fame and all of that. But what's your relationship with him? I know you got to spend a little time with him this summer. How reassuring is it to have somebody like him here in Eugene when you're far away from home?
Oh man, it's amazing. I mean, not a lot of people get this opportunity to have close family with them, and I've been fortunate to have family like them. And we hung a lot this summer. I got to know him better, and he's been through it all, so I've been able to learn from him. And you know, he guided me through college in the freshman year, and that work comes first, and then school comes first, and then work, and then you got to grind through it all. So I've been very blessed to have him and his family here in Eugene.
All right, one final question for you, and then I'll let you go. I know you got that student part that you got to get. But,
yes, you love the student part.
Yes, you do. What's one thing about you that people would be surprised to know?
Oh man,
Got to think about that one, don't you? Yes.
I do.
You don't want to, how much do I reveal? But I do. What would people go? Oh, I didn't know that about Te-Hina.
I honestly do not know. I mean, I talk a lot.
You talk a lot?
Yeah, I really have an open book. I talk a lot. I like to have a good time. I like to talk and get to know people and have a relationship with them. So I think that's one surprising thing.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you're a good person. Keep smiling. What a smile. I heard KG told me that all the time. Wait till you see her. She smiles all the time, and you do, and it's great, and keep it up.
Thank you.
You've got a joy for basketball and a joy for life, and I can tell that just.
Thank you.
Just in talking to you here. So we'll wrap it up. Go get your studies done. Practice. You guys got a day off, I think, today, don't you?
We have a day off, and then we have the Wildcats, and I don't know about if we play the Sun Devils. I don't know yet.
You play in Tucson on Thursday. Play Arizona. Yeah.
Yes.
So basketball's going great. I know you guys just coming off had a couple losses to top 10 teams, but you're back in the top 10, so you feel good about that. All right, Te-Hina. Te-Hina, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
There you go, Te-Hina Paopao. Isn't she great? She smiled for the whole time, didn't she?
She smiled the whole time, and also she's so zeroed in. Like, yeah, we're gonna play Arizona, and then I think we play the Sun Devils. Maybe we don't. You know, she was so dialed in on Arizona. You know, that's the way that this is, though. It's scouting report one at a time.
Yeah, you do. You know, I mean, that's the way athletes have to do. You don't really know. And sometimes it's funny. You talk to Kelly. And I'm not sure he knows. I think his assistants know that are doing the scouting reports.
Doing the scouting.
We'll let you know, Coach, when who are playing next. But it's but wasn't she great? She's great to talk to. Great player.
Kelly Graves, Te-Hina Paopao, and then we've got one more segment to give you some updates on where men's basketball is at, what the future could look like now that they've entered this pause. And also, I don't know if Terry realizes this, but tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary of the opening of Matthew Knight Arena.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2011.
January 13th,
it was a men's game.
It was a men's game.
The men, UCLA?
USC.
Pretty
good. Pretty good. That's pretty good recollection.
Who'd the women play first game?
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask you when we come back.
Okay.
All right. Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Carl's Jr. Looking back on the first 10 years at Matthew Knight Arena after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
What's it like to grow with the O? At OCCU, we support Duck fans each step of the way by educating our youth with Lucky Duck Savings, celebrating independence with Duck Debit Checking, and rewarding members with the Duck Credit Card. That's how Duck fans grow with OCCU. Learn how you can too at myoccu.org/ducks.
In the mood for a charbroiled double cheeseburger for just $2.99? Have a BLT, the Carl's Jr. way. Crispy bacon, fresh lettuce and tomato with cheesy charbroiled beef. Plus creamy ranch and more charbroiled beef. It's the new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger. That beefy enough for you? Get a taste of the new BLT Ranch Double Cheeseburger for just $2.99. Part of charbroiled double deals at Carl's Jr. Double up to feed your happy. Offer valid for limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
You're listening to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were
you, Jill? We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. We were taking a look, as if you're just joining us, the Oregon men's basketball team entering into a pause. So this week's 2 games against the Arizona schools are postponed. The Oregon women will be on the road heading to Tucson. We'll tell you about that. But tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary of the very first men's basketball game at Matthew Knight Arena. And it was the opener of Oregon's brand new facility, January 13th, 2011. The Ducks won 68-62 over USC. And by the way, since then, Oregon men's basketball, some really great success at Matthew Knight Arena. They're 74-16 in Pac-12 games. That's an 82% winning percentage, I should say. And the Ducks' non-conference record, they're 88-4. They've won 96% of their non-conference games at Matthew Knight Arena. 10-year anniversary. And the Oregon women's first game at Matthew Knight Arena was against
January 23rd, Oregon State.
Oh, okay.
In fact, you want to know something weird? I mean, there was sold out.
Yeah.
And because the visiting team, right where we sit, right by the home bench, the Oregon bench, and so they're doing layup line. And for women's basketball, I mean, there's not a lot of places you go. Do you see 12,360?
Sure.
And the Oregon State players, as they were in the layup line, and I think Roger Terrell, the public address announcer, made an announcement, and the roar of the crowd, and the players looked at each other like, whoa. It was like, whoa, we haven't heard anything like that before.
That's great.
But by the way, the game started, it was a T on Oregon because it had something to do with the way the light lit up for the shot clock, that it was for the men, and it didn't satisfy for the women. And the official noticed it, and Oregon was teed, and Oregon State started with a technical free throw.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's.
I was trying to look it up. Hopefully I got all that right, but I remember that.
That's an oddity. The women in Tucson coming up 3:30 on Thursday and a 4 o'clock tip-off. We'll talk to you then.
2021 Toyota, no matter the weather. The Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone will be comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Toyota. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
More than ever, you're looking for the perfect getaway. With gourmet food, your favorite games, and a beautiful lodge, book the perfect getaway at Spirit Mountain Casino, the Northwest's premier entertainment destination. Go to spiritmountain.com.